Twitter, what many believe to be the cesspool of the internet, the butthole of all social media, and the place where people go to cry. Elon Musk believes to be the town square of free speech. If I'm not mistaken, when town squares were popular, people were still throwing their doo-doo feces outside their windows. So cesspool's still accurate. Now, if you're on Twitter or if you just pay attention to the internet every once in a while, it is very hard to escape the news that Elon Musk is going to be Twitter's new daddy when he buys the platform for $44 billion.
Say what?
I don't know about you, but if I had $44 billion, I think the last thing on my mind would be to buy Twitter. I mean, to be honest, you could have bought Tumblr for less than $3 million, brought back the boobies and the peepees, added a few features, and you would have already been better than Twitter currently is today. And you would have still had $43 billion and some change to do some other cool stuff, like you could finance like 3 Mr. Beast videos, try to help homelessness in America, you could have merged with Warner Media and started making better DC movies, find ways to improve world hunger, or you could have just paid all the best hentai artists in the world to draw you with all your favorite characters. Honestly, anything could be better than buying Twitter. Well, except for maybe making tunnels where Teslas get stuck in traffic.
Trying to dig a hole under LA to alleviate congestion.
All jokes aside, Elon does say he has a lot of plans for Twitter. That's if the deal actually goes through. Depending on where you look, Elon might be trying to get out of this deal. Can you tell it's taken me a while to make this video? But for the sake of this video, let's just say that Elon Musk does buy Twitter. Elon has mentioned that he wants to make Twitter better with a whole bunch of new features, such as making the Twitter algorithm open source to increase trust, defeating all the spam bots on the platform, and authenticating all humans, whatever the fuck that means. Are we gonna need neural links to use Twitter? All of this mumbo jumbo sounds interesting to nerds, but none of it really enhances the user experience on Twitter. A lot of people on Twitter have always mentioned they want an edit button, and this is something that Elon has hinted at. But to be honest, I don't think an edit button is that big of a deal. If anything, I see a lot of people trying to use the edit button to go back and change the past history of their tweet. You know how many stupid prediction memes we're gonna get if this feature happens? Oh man, look what I predicted back in 2014. You know it's gonna happen, and it's gonna suck. If this feature does happen, I think people should be able to see the original tweet next to the new tweet. You know, for transparency's sake, like Elon said. Forget all that though, because I'm actually here with some good ideas that will improve user experience and engagement in the long run. The first thing Twitter needs to implement is a media tab for your whole Twitter feed. Look, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm tired of random people's thoughts clogging up my timeline when I'm just on Twitter to look at anime titties. Installing a media tab, which they already have for individual profiles, would allow Twitter to start competing with the likes of TikTok and YouTube. Seriously though, think about just having all of the people you follow in a media tab. If you're on TikTok, you already know how easy it is to just check out content in the feed. YouTube does the same thing. Now just imagine having that on Twitter. I think it would be such a better experience. I would much rather scroll mindlessly through a media tab than getting bombarded by jack stupid tweets about coffee. You have the technology, Twitter. Implement it on the main feed. The next feature that I think will improve user experience is allow people to turn off retweets and quote tweets. Now I understand this one might be a little controversial because a lot of people think that retweets and quote tweets kind of give us more insight to the people that we follow, but sometimes I don't really want to know what people I follow are into, you know? Let me give you an example. I like to follow artists on Twitter, and artists like to support other artists, which means you usually see artists retweeting other artists' art. But it kind of sucks when you want to support an artist's art, but all you see is that artist retweeting other artists' art. But if I could turn off retweets, then I could just focus on that artist and not the artist that artist wants me to focus on. Because let's be real, some artists are just way more supportive than other artists, and you just want to be the support system for that particular artist. Again, I do think this should be an option to be able to turn it off or on, because I actually do like retweets, but sometimes I just want to break from them. Now let's move on to the final thing that Twitter needs to do. This particular feature will revolutionize the platform. It'll make Twitter better than it currently is. This feature would make it ascend to the next level. Allow people to private their likes. Now, to some of you, that information might be a surprise, and now you're thinking, man, have I liked anything that's gonna make me look sus? But I'm not lying to you. You can go to anybody's profile on Twitter that is not private, head over to their page, go to their likes, and you can literally see everything that they've liked till the end of time. Like, there's nothing that's keeping you from looking at anybody's likes on Twitter. I wasn't lying about the anime titties. Now, you might be thinking there's gotta be a way to do it, but there's not. You can go to the settings if you want. You can come check all this stuff. You can go to privacy and safety, but you're not going to find anything that's going to let you specifically private your, I was going to say tweets, but likes. You can private your whole profile if you want. No other major social media platform out there forces people's likes to be public. Reddit, YouTube, TikTok all have options for you to be able to hide who you follow and what you like. I cannot tell you and stress how big of a problem this is. I have literally had friends tell me that they want to support my content on Twitter, but they don't want their followers questioning what they're liking. And that's because I make degenerate content on YouTube and share it on Twitter. Sometimes. If my friends like my tweets, it's more than likely that my content is going to show up in their followers' feeds. And my kind of content might not be something that they signed up for. I'll be 100% honest with you. If I could private my likes, my engagement on Twitter would jump up times 10. But at the moment, I don't like a lot of things on Twitter because I don't want my followers to have to be subjected to everything that I like. For example, if I wanted to like a tweet of Adriana Chek being the throat goat, or a Genshin Impact character getting railed, that doesn't need to show up in my followers' feed while they're at school or church. Again, no other major social media platform forces its users' likes to be public. Let me give you another example. I'm not a fan of Zodiac Killer Cancun Cruz, but if Twitter had this feature to private tweets, we wouldn't know that Mr. Cruz is into desperate MILF porn. He should still be able to keep his sexual interests private on Twitter. Also, fuck Ted Cruz. Also, something that I find hilarious is that Elon Musk says he wants stronger security for DMs on Twitter so things would stay private, but you have everybody's likes out there on Front Street. Now, if you don't want to see certain things on Twitter, you can go through here and be like, hey, I don't want to see sensitive information, or I don't want to see this type of content. They do have filters like that, but that's only to protect yourself from viewing other people's stuff. Like, people should have the option to hide their likes. To add one last thing to this argument, I also think that this would end up improving the trending tab too. The reason why I say this is I think people have a lot of different interests, but since Twitter is so toxic and a lot of people can see your business, I think people shy away from those interests because I think sometimes they just don't want to deal with people being like, why are you liking that? Personally, one thing I love to do on social media is like a bunch of things that I might find controversial because I want to make a video about them. Now, I would hate to like a bunch of controversial shit and then people would be like, whoa, bro, what are you into? What? Crazy. I don't support this craziness, but I'm trying to keep documentation of something so I can use it in a video later. If likes were private, you wouldn't have to have those stupid little conversations from random people on the internet. Lastly, think about all the relationships you'll save because significant others won't be snooping in people's likes. Actually, that could cause a lot of problems if they're crazy enough. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Twitter. Feel free to follow me there if you want to see a bunch of nonsense. And if you guys got $3 million laying around, buy Tumblr and bring back the booba. As always, I'm your host, JUICEbox. Remember to wake up in the morning and ask yourself something about my daily dose of juice. See you guys next time.